Ladies and gentlemen, we just got ourselves some breaking crypto news, which caused the Bitcoin price to fall from 72,000 to roughly 70,000 over the last 15 minutes. And I don't think there's anybody out there who's quicker with updates like this one. So make sure that you press that like button and let's dive right in. So to not cuck anybody, not leave you in the dark, news straight away, most important part is this. The court just ruled against Coinbase in a highly anticipated judgment. And no, this is not why Coinbase is going down every now and then or why people might be facing some issues like I keep seeing in the comments section. I've actually tried to look around for some more on point sources and DB had one of the most intricate ones and it explains here. Court finds the SEC sufficiently pleaded Coinbase operated as an exchange, broker, and clearing agency. The court sides with the SEC on the staking program issue, and the court sides with Coinbase on the SEC claims with regards to the wallet. The case will proceed. But long story short, this is very, very positive and very, very negative. The reason it's positive is because apparently the court in some way, shape, or form sided with Coinbase on the SEC's claims regarding their wallet. So that is nice. But it's sufficiently bad that the court even acknowledges the SEC's claims with regards to Coinbase's staking being, well, this is going to be a big drama. So if you're not completely up to date, a very long time ago, the SEC sued Coinbase. In the midst, Coinbase also sued the SEC because they said there really weren't proper crypto rules. But one of the most prominent points the SEC was making is that Coinbase's EARN program doesn't really make sense. They're promising people a return, which they shouldn't be allowed to do. What is that return based on? Yada, yada. This is all unregistered securities. And now there came a long discussion about what staking really is and why it shouldn't be handled by the SEC even, and why Coinbase's plans were all outlined when they decided to go public. But again, more and more and more debate. But right now, apparently the court has just said that the SEC can pursue Coinbase's staking program issue. And what this initial part here is about is that the court had to find that the SEC's claims were, sufficient enough to even be recognized for this type of discussion. Meaning, let's say that that the SEC threw up a claim which was so outrageous, the court really wouldn't even look at it. But the court has now decided that yes, the SEC sufficiently pleaded that Coinbase has acted as an official or operated as an official exchange, broker, and clearing agency, and thus laws follow with that they have now potentially messed up on. And I think the most prominent claim is just Coinbase failed to register as a broker dealer or something along those lines. And that's really what they're going to hammer down on. But anyway, that's the main reason the price fell so much in the span of like 15 minutes. Should you be worried is a question I see quite a lot, especially in Telegram. I saw that just now. In my opinion, my humble opinion, this is not something to really cash out over. This is not something to sell your bags over and get scared about, especially when the 4-hour chart looks like this, which in my opinion is extremely bullish, but especially when you kind of zoom out and look at the weekly chart, we really didn't witness any sort of bleed at all. And even if we do go sideways, which I'll talk about more on our trading channel, but even if we do go sideways, it still really wouldn't be that bad. I mean, if we were to touch 59,000 before zooming back upwards, I really wouldn't be too sad about that because ultimately we know where we're at. And since the SEC hasn't really won anything too detrimental just quite yet, this really is kind of a nothing burger. People just very much overreacted. Then again, what people are doing is anticipating the further moves. For example, the fact that the SEC now went against them could indicate that at some point in the near future, the SEC is going to have some sort of victory. What if they do and Coinbase has to shut down? And these are all questions that are logical to think about, but I don't really think about too much. What I'm mostly interested in, honest truth, what I'm mostly considering honest truth is everything with regards to this Bitcoin spot ETF and their inflows. And as it seems right now, we're back towards the green, where the last couple of days were kind of a bleed off. And I described before why I think that's quite necessary to have some healthy market. And we talked before about our potential squeeze, where the institutions are very much long and the hedge funds are very much short. Either this is as a hedge position or there's a squeeze of sorts coming. Anyway, with that in the back of our pocket, in the background, in the back of our heads, we are seeing the numbers go up by quite some quite some significant sums again. I think we're like $400 million in the plus just now. To which all I can say is, if you think the institutions are scared of something like this, you'll definitely notice throughout the next couple of days with some even more crazy sell-offs than what we witnessed right here. But I always think, right, that if the institution is big enough to buy via the likes of BlackRock, specifically in just crazy numbers, that they're able to do their own due diligence and make up their mind as to whether or not they saw the whole Coinbase lawsuit as a too big of a risk to not be worth it. But the fact that they still invested anyway, knowing this lawsuit with Coinbase is going on, knowing the SEC's crazy stance on things, perhaps it's literally what's making them more bullish on everything. The fact that the SEC is so hunting is making them more excited that, first of all, clarity is going to be here sooner than otherwise, potentially, because of a hawkish Gary Gensler, because he's really on it, like a freaking crazy guy, like a maniac. Perhaps because election year and Gary Gensler is going to be thrown out, which they know is going to be replaced by somebody better, potentially, right? I don't know, I'm just putting some stuff out there. Or potentially because they just know it really doesn't matter. And whatever is happening in the lawsuit field doesn't matter over the span of multiple months or multiple years. It's all just fog that you can really make yourself busy with, but it doesn't matter ultimately. Again, I'm not going to be the guy to tell you, oh, we can't actually come down because of negative news like this, just like how we went down over the past 2 weeks here. And, you know, even the Bitcoin ETFs were showing some negative signs. I will tell you, however, that this same thinking process, people have all the time when we hit new all-time highs. For example, if we look back here, right, this is the 2017 all-time high. The first time we touched it, we came back down for the next, I'm going to say, 3 weeks or so, right? We had some strange results before having some massive spikes. And actually here we had a 120% spike throughout the next 3 or 4 weeks. If you just realize that for a second, that basically after 3 weeks of gibbly-gobbling, we all of a sudden had a 120% spike. Right here, that could be example that we go towards this all-time high, gibbly-gobble there for a little bit, and all of a sudden have a 120% spike. So a spike all the way towards 150,000, for example, over the next month or so. That would be the equivalent of what happened right there. I'm not saying, guys, that it's going to happen right now. I'm just saying, you see how crazy that would look and you see how crazy that would have to go. But that's pretty much what happened in the past. And if we kind of, make it a little bit more relative and the gains were to be, let's say half what we had back then, we'd still be at what, $110,000 or so within the next 3 to 4 weeks if we follow the same type of basis. And even back then it looked crazy, but if you're understanding that the position that we're in just keeps getting stronger and stronger, not weaker, regardless of what happens in these lawsuits, you understand why I just always say, just buy and you'll be fine. Don't think about all the noise too much. And that is not only about Bitcoin, that's about all the cryptos. And then again, a little announcement like this did hit some altcoins hard though. There were a couple of altcoins like 𝗓𝗏 and 𝗏𝗏𝗀 that were really popping off, that all of a sudden have seen some 6%, 5% and 4% bleeds here over the past hour. And ETHFi also just broke some records. Let's quickly see how that one is doing right now. Okay, that one actually has not yet fallen. Over the past hour, only a couple of AI coins and a couple of other things have also been bleeding a little bit, with Ocean down 4%, IOTX down 4%, AltLayer down 4%, so definitely not too amazing. Some other coins up 15% in an hour, huh? Wow. That's 10% in an hour. That's pretty wild. But I want to say ultimately it does not really matter though for the longer term. What happens on the really short term, because we've got everything unlocked. I know my plan and you guys know your plan, hopefully. If you don't, stick around, because a little bit later today, perhaps tomorrow, I'm going to be giving you guys yet another sort of rundown of what exactly I think is smart to do in a market like this, like right now. How to maximize gains, how to make sure you're satisfied with the bull market, because really right now is the absolute time to shine. And a couple months back, I told you, do this now. Be ready for the massive market, make crazy gains. If you did, you'd have already made crazy gains. It's still not too late though, in my own humble opinion. But obviously, the more you wait around, the more you keep waiting, the more you keep thinking, oh, I'll get to it soon, the later you're gonna be, and the less your expectation of profit should be as well. Again, guys, I'm not your financial advisor, and I will never claim that this is all risk-free, because it's not. But history has shown that this is a really good time to get in, because this is where things get really crazy and liven up. So a little bit of news like this, it really doesn't shake me out. It really doesn't do too much negative for me. And I'll just be holding on till the bitter end.